The morning after the rain, the city woke up glazed in sunlight that made everything look newly washed. Streets gleaming, windows shining, air crisp and clean. Ethan Blake sat in his penthouse office, but his thoughts were miles away. His assistant droned through the day's agenda: investor calls, a design review, 2 media interviews, and yet none of it registered. Every time Ethan tried to focus on his spreadsheets or the endless line of emails, his mind pulled him back to a paint-stained sleeve, a soft laugh, and a woman who walked into the rain like it belonged to her. When the meeting finally ended, he stood by the window, staring down at the city below. Cars moved like tiny pulses of light, but it all felt strangely distant. He'd built an empire that reached every corner of that city, and yet, he realized, he didn't belong to any of it. Not really. By noon, he gave in. "Cancel my afternoon," he told his assistant. She blinked. All of it, all of it. He didn't bother explaining why. Some things didn't need explaining, especially not the pull that had started somewhere between Emma's quiet honesty and that unguarded smile. The Maple Street Community Shelter sat on the far side of town, a neighborhood most of his colleagues had only ever read about in crime statistics. The building itself was old, the bricks faded, the front steps cracked. But the moment he stepped inside, it was like crossing into another world. The smell of paint, paper, and something faintly sweet, maybe crayons, filled the air. Children's laughter echoed down the narrow hallways, mixing with the hum of a worn-out heater. A woman at the front desk looked up, startled to see a man in a designer suit. "Can I help you? I'm looking for Emma Carter," Ethan said, adjusting his coat. "She's in the art room, second door on the left." As he walked down the hall, voices and laughter grew louder. Then he saw her. Emma stood in front of a group of children, a paintbrush in one hand, her hair pulled into that same messy bun. Her clothes were covered in flecks of color, her cheeks dusted with warmth. She was kneeling beside a small boy, showing him how to blend 2 shades of blue into a sky. "See," she said gently, "the trick isn't making it perfect. It's making it yours." The boy grinned, and she smiled back, that same smile that had lodged itself somewhere deep in Ethan's chest the night before. He stayed in the doorway for a moment, unnoticed, taking it all in. It wasn't the elegant kind of beauty he was used to, the kind that came with perfection and polish. This was chaos and color, noise and laughter, imperfection turned into something human and whole. When she finally looked up and saw him, surprise flickered across her face. "Ethan, hi," he said, almost sheepishly. "I was in the area." Her eyebrows lifted. "You were in the area. You realize this isn't exactly near anything." He smiled. "I needed to see what you meant. About the kids, the art, all of it." The children, curious, began whispering. One little girl tugged at Emma's sleeve. "Miss Emma, is he your boyfriend?" Color rushed to Emma's cheeks, and Ethan nearly laughed at her embarrassment. "No, he's just," she started. "Just someone who wanted to visit," Ethan finished for her. "And maybe learn something." She narrowed her eyes playfully. "You, learn? I thought CEOs already knew everything." "Not everything," he said quietly. "Some things you can only learn here." Something in his tone softened her. She turned back to the children. "Okay, everyone, new plan. We're letting Mr. Blake join us today." A chorus of cheers erupted, and before Ethan could protest, a paintbrush was shoved into his hand. Within minutes, his pristine shirt sleeve was marked with green paint, and his laughter joined theirs. For the first time in years, Ethan wasn't thinking about deadlines or deals. He was thinking about colors, messy lines, and the way Emma's eyes lit up when she watched the children create. Later, as the class ended, she helped him clean up the mess. "You really didn't have to come," she said, glancing at him from beneath her lashes. "I know," he said. "But I wanted to." "Why?" He hesitated, then met her gaze. "Because last night, for the first time in a long time, I felt like I was seeing something real. And I wanted to see it again." Her lips parted, a breath caught between them. She looked away before he could read her expression. "You might regret it," she murmured. "My world isn't exactly simple." Ethan smiled faintly. "Neither is mine. Maybe that's the point." And as he stood there, in that paint-splattered room filled with laughter and light, he realized he'd crossed a line he couldn't uncross. He didn't just want to see her world anymore. He wanted to be part of it.